A wild crow lands beside the same man every morning, not near him, beside him. It waits for his footsteps, tilts its head, and follows him through the park. Years earlier, he had found it tangled in plastic line. He freed it, then walked away. So why did the crow keep coming back? Did it remember the rescue? Or did it simply remember a human shape connected with safety? That difference sounds small, but it opens a strange door. Because wild animals meet humans in many ways. A hiker offers water. A researcher removes a snare. A diver frees an animal from fishing line. A farmer leaves a frightened creature alone. Then time passes. Sometimes months pass, sometimes years. And when the animal sees that human again, something changes. It approaches, it watches, it stays calm. It may even appear to seek them out. We love calling that gratitude, but science asks a harder question. Can a wild animal remember not just a person, but a moment when danger stopped? For a long time, the safe answer was no. Animals could learn routines, scientists agreed. They could connect a sound with food. They could recognize a place with shelter. But remembering a particular event with a particular individual seemed more human. That kind of memory feels personal. You remember your first school day, a hospital room, the stranger who helped you when nobody else did. Psychologists often separate memory into two broad forms. One is knowledge memory, that is knowing where berries grow, knowing which trail leads home, knowing that a certain call means danger. The other is event memory, that is remembering what happened, where it happened, and who was there. Scientists are careful with this idea in animals. We cannot climb inside a crow's mind. We cannot ask a seal what last winter felt like. But animal behavior can leave clues, and some clues are almost impossible to ignore. Take ravens. Ravens do not merely notice that humans can be dangerous. They can learn which humans are dangerous. In research at the University of Washington, people wore a specific, frightening mask while capturing and releasing ravens. The birds quickly learned that face. Later, the mask appeared again. The ravens scolded it. They gathered around it. They warned other ravens. Here is the unsettling part. Birds that had never been captured also reacted. The original ravens had taught them, and the response lasted for years. Think about what that means. A raven can carry a social warning through time. It can attach danger to a particular human appearance. It can pass that warning into its community. Now reverse the emotion. If a human once became associated with relief instead of threat, could that memory also last? Behavioral evidence suggests it can. In one study, wild American crows recognized individual human faces long after a negative encounter. Other studies show that birds remember food locations, social partners, and past competition with remarkable precision. Their brains are built differently from ours. They do not have a human-style cortex, yet they solve memory problems that look surprisingly familiar. A tiny brain does not always mean a simple mind, and birds are only the beginning. Many mammals live in societies where remembering others is essential. A dolphin that forgets its allies may lose protection. A baboon that forgets rank may start a dangerous fight. An elephant that forgets a route may lose access to water. For social animals, memory is not a luxury, it is survival. Researchers have found that bottlenose dolphins can remember the signature whistles of former companions for decades. A signature whistle works a little like an individual vocal label. Not exactly a name, but close enough to be fascinating. A dolphin may leave a companion, travel far away, then hear that sound years later, and still respond. That tells us something important. The animal is not only learning, this sound means food, it may be retaining information about a specific other individual. Elephants show another kind of memory. During severe droughts, older female elephants often lead their families toward distant water sources. Those routes may have been learned long before younger animals were born. The matriarch's memory can shape who survives. Elephants also react strongly to the scent and remains of other elephants. Scientists debate exactly what those responses mean. We should not call it human mourning too quickly, but they are not indifferent. They investigate, they pause, they return attention to what happened. Memory, in other words, may be woven into emotion. And that brings us back to the human helper. Imagine you are a wild animal trapped in a net. Every instinct says panic. The world is pressure, pain, noise, and helplessness. Then one creature approaches, a human. It does not chase you. It does not hurt you. It cuts the net. Your body suddenly moves again. Could that shift become unforgettable? One famous kind of example comes from marine rescue teams. A sea turtle may arrive entangled in discarded fishing gear. Rescuers carefully remove the line, treat injuries, and release the turtle offshore. Sometimes after release, the animal does something that looks almost deliberate. It circles. It lingers near the boat. It rises beside the people who just handled it. Does that prove recognition? No. A turtle may be orienting itself. It may be checking currents. It may simply be stressed and confused. But the moment still matters. Because survival experiences create powerful learning. If an animal encounters pain, fear, escape in a particular set of sights or sounds, its brain is likely paying close attention. Not politely, urgently. The memory may not be a story like ours. It may not think, that person saved my life on a Tuesday, but it may carry a durable association. This voice, this smell, this shape, not danger, safety. And sometimes that association becomes visible in ways that feel almost impossible. Consider wild orangutans living near rehabilitation areas in Borneo. Some had been rescued from the illegal pet trade. Others arrived starving, injured, or orphaned. Caregivers fed them and protected them during vulnerable stages. Later, some were released into forest habitat. The goal was not to make them tame. The goal was to make them wild again. That distinction matters. A released orangutan should not depend on people. It should forage, travel, build nests, and avoid dangerous human contact. Yet field workers have described former residents recognizing familiar caregivers after long absences. An orangutan may pause high in the canopy. It may watch. It may make a quiet contact call. Sometimes it comes closer. Sometimes it does not. And that hesitation might be the most honest part. Recognition does not mean friendship. A wild animal can remember someone and still choose distance. In fact, distance may show that the animal is behaving exactly as it should. We often imagine memory as a warm reunion, but memory can be cautious. It can say, I know you, and also, I am not yours. That is especially clear with large predators. A rehabilitated bear may remember a person who fed it. That is not always good news. Habituation can put both bears and humans at risk. Wildlife workers work hard to prevent this. They reduce human contact, hide food, and avoid creating familiar routines. Why? Because animals learn people fast. Too fast sometimes. A bear that learns humans mean easy food is not expressing gratitude. It is making a practical calculation. This is where viral animal videos can mislead us. An animal approaching a rescuer may look like affection. It may actually be conditioning. Food is powerful. Warmth is powerful. Repeated handling is powerful. So how can we tell the difference? We usually cannot from one touching clip. Scientists look for patterns instead. Did the animal react differently to one person than to strangers? Did it remember that individual after a long gap? Was food absent from the encounter? Did it show calm behavior only after a history of safety? And even then, the answer remains careful. Recognition is easier to test than gratitude. A wolf might remember a voice. A crow might recognize a face. A dolphin might retain a companion's whistle. But gratitude is a human word. It implies an inner interpretation. I understand what you did for me. Science cannot confirm that sentence inside another species. Not yet. Still, the brain gives us a reason to take the possibility seriously. Most vertebrates have systems for learning from emotionally intense events. In mammals, structures including the hippocampus help organize memories across time and place. Another brain region, the amygdala, helps tag experiences with emotional importance. Again, animal brains are not miniature human brains, but the basic problem is shared. What should be remembered? The answer is often simple. Remember what kept you alive. A neutral event fades. A frightening event can stay sharp. A relieving event may stay sharp too. Your brain notices the locked door, but it also notices the hand that opens it. Researchers call this emotional learning. You do not need language for it. A young animal can learn that a certain call predicts danger. It can learn that a certain location is safe. It can learn that a certain individual never harms it. Over time, those pieces may combine, not into a human autobiography, but into a map of the social world. Danger here, food there. This animal belongs with me. That creature can be trusted. And perhaps this human once changed everything. There is another detail people often miss. Animals may remember helpers because help arrives during their most vulnerable moments. A healthy deer does not need to study every distant person. It runs. But an injured deer, an exhausted bird, or an entangled seal is already focused. Its attention narrows. Its body becomes a recorder. The smell of gloves, the sound of a boat engine, the rhythm of a voice, the sudden release of pressure, all of it can become part of the memory. That does not make every rescue a lifelong bond. Sometimes the animal forgets. Sometimes it never identified the rescuer clearly. Sometimes its safest choice is to avoid humans forever. And honestly, that is often the outcome we should want. Wildness is not rejection. Wildness is success. But there are encounters that leave a different kind of mark. In Australia, researchers studying magpies found that these birds could distinguish individual humans who had previously threatened nests. They also changed their behavior around people who had not threatened them. That ability matters beyond fear. If birds can sort humans into categories, then a helpful person may not disappear into one giant mental box labeled human. The animal world may be more specific than we assume. A person is not always just a person. Sometimes they are a face, a sound, a pattern, a remembered exception. And perhaps that is why some rescue stories feel so powerful. Not because they prove animals are secretly human, but because they suggest something more interesting. Animals may have their own versions of significance, their own ways of deciding what matters. A rescued animal may not replay the event as a movie. It may not feel obligation. It may not understand kindness as a moral concept, but it may remember relief. It may remember the individual connected to relief. And when that individual appears again, its body may answer before any words could. One last story captures this mystery beautifully. Along the California coast, researchers sometimes encounter gray whales that approach small boats on their own. These whales are wild. They are free to leave. Yet some gently rise close enough for people to touch their heads. Nobody should force that contact. Nobody should treat it as proof of love. But the choice is still extraordinary. A creature larger than a bus can decide to come near. It can inspect us. It can remain calm. Maybe it remembers nothing about any particular human. Maybe it simply learned that some boats are not dangerous. Or maybe, somewhere in that enormous ocean mind, a few individual encounters remain. Not as words, not as gratitude, but as a feeling attached to a face, a voice, a moment. The moment fear loosened its grip. And for an animal living in a dangerous world, that may be one of the most important memories of all.